Okay, hi, it's Jeanne Petrosky, and I'm coming to you on behalf of the Rittenhouse Square art show that was happening, usually happens this time of right now, this weekend in Philadelphia. But because of COVID and keeping everybody safe, we want to make sure that we are all safe. We are doing virtually. And hopefully, you've been watching some of the other events that have been happening and shopping on the gallery and visiting artists in their virtual booths. All of that information is on the Rittenhouse Square website, which is rittenhousesquareart.com. I wanted to make sure before we get too far into this that you can hear us. If anyone is listening, if they can respond yes or no, I would greatly appreciate that because we've had some glitches. All right. So again, thank you to the board for being broad-minded, and thinking outside the box to present these events to you. Our event, usually Dennis and I are together, but we are not. He is helping with my dear friend and fellow artist, Lisa Muller, who I hope you got to see her presentation yesterday. She is doing the videography, so and she'll be answering any questions. So say hi, Lisa.
Hi. Just type your questions in and I'll read them to Jeanne.
So don't, just wait. Don't wait. Just put them in when you think of them. Our presentation will last 30 to 40 minutes. And because you showed up, you'll get a special little present at the end. Just hang in there, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Okay, so paper making. We did this. You can go to our website, which is JPDesignArt.com, and there's an amazing video there on the front page of how we make our paper. It's professionally done. It's fabulous. So check that out. So I just want to run through the different ways that I've made paper. There's all kinds. There's Western paper making. There's papyrus, just beating the leaves. But we won't get into any of that. I learned with a mold and a decal, and having a vat of water and putting the pulp in there, which I have some pulp here, but the same exact pulp we're using, and I've been using for 33 years. I've been a paper maker and an artist all my life, but a paper maker for 33. So you scoop up the fiber, you shake it, and you take the decal off, and you transfer this onto a surface, and then that makes a sheet of paper. That's how I learned. This is the loud equipment that I don't like using. Dennis is the one who uses it, and there is we're spraying the pulp. So he has to make this same pulp into a slurry. So it goes through this little tiny orifice right there. I mean, come on. So, and it's loud. So there's again, on the site, look at because there's a real beautiful video of this. We start with a sheet of aluminum, spray a layer of pulp down. It's and then put wire in there, and then spray another. And he wears ear stuff, and or he's supposed to. And then that's how we make our paper now. So we can make 4-foot by 8-foot sheets of paper, and they're strong, they're durable because of the wire that stays embedded between the two layers of pulp. This is a sheet of paper that we've made, and you can see, I think you can see the darkness, yeah? So the darkness that you see is the wire. And this stuff here is the overspray. And we have to tear that off back to the wire so you get that beautiful deckled edge, which we accent often with contrasting colors and on and on. But that's intrinsic to handmade paper, and that's why we don't use a canvas. We love this edge and have been using that edge. So now we have all these scraps of of paper. And Dennis has been collecting it. It's just been making bags and bags of it. And now our studio is not big anymore. We've moved our studio to our home, and we will still be having open studios, but anyway, space is limited.
Can you hold up some paper so people can see how light it is? Okay. All the diverse shapes.
Yeah, and it's, again, just the edges that have been. So anyway, we have bags of this stuff, and it's like, what do I do with it all? And I gave some to the local art center, and it's like he reuses some of it, but apparently he can't reuse as much as he makes. So I don't quite understand that, but that's what he tells me, and I believe him. So I came up with taking the pulp, taking these papers, rehydrating them, and putting them directly onto a backboard with my hands. So the equipment that is used now on these pieces are not the mold and decal. It's not the big equipment. It's these two beautiful things that we all have. So I want to show you how you can make paper art in your kitchen, okay, with common things that you would have in your kitchen. We have professional equipment, and it's a lot quicker, but you still get the same result. So I'm excited to show this to you. This is our little baby blender, but if you have something stronger in your kitchen, you can use that. If you're going to be a paper maker, bless you, it's really fun. But if you're going to become a paper maker, get a regular blender, just for paper making. But if you'll get tired of that, you call me and we'll talk. Because there's other equipment that you could use that would make your life so much more enjoyable. But for now, for you guys to test this out, what you're going to do is tear up this paper. Now this stuff does not have the wire in it, because remember, it was all the overspray. And you don't want to burn out your blenders. I had my blender for at least 5 years. We still have it. Had it. We don't anymore. But it lasted a long time. So you don't, about that much paper we'll put in there.
Oh, so the ratio is 3 to 1, say, water to
paper. Yeah. That's for those math-minded people. Yeah, you don't want to.
A lot of water and a little.
Yeah, I was taught a size of a quarter, but my gosh. That's probably why my blender lasted 5 years. And this is a regular strainer from your kitchen, okay? And this is a regular bucket. Nothing professional about this. This is, I don't know, this is loud because it's a blender, but for about 20 seconds you want to hydrate it. Oh, that's not too bad. So you could be washing your hands while you're, don't you supposed to wash your hands for 20 seconds? And look at this. This is so beautiful. Look at that beautiful head.
Paper milkshake.
Now, this gets that way because our papers have what's called methyl cellulose, which is an archival glue, and formation aid, and it's basically slime. It's just like a slimy stuff, and that's so it can go through that little tiny hole. So we're going to pour this in here. Does that show it? Okay, nothing, and none of this is difficult. This is the most time-consuming part, and I will not bore you with making enough pulp to work on this, but you probably have to do that maybe 4 or 5 times. And thank you, Betty Crocker, for the other, the quick method. So I have made a batch of this stuff. Oh, while we're doing this, and we're doing shameless promotion, this particular piece is on the Rittenhouse Square gallery and can be purchased. Along with, there's 3 other pieces. There's 2 other babies. We call these our babies. They're blessings. And there's a beautiful birch tree up there. So, but, check out, again, RittenhouseSquareArt.com. Right on the front page, you can shop until Sunday night at 5 o'clock. Even 1 in the morning when you are just thinking about, oh, that piece is so beautiful. I need to buy it. Don't wait till the morning. Just get up and buy it. Okay. So now we have our pulp. We have all of our babies or blessings are framed, and they come in this wooden frame with this backing in it. That's how they come to us. So I took this backing, and I think it's masonite, something like that. And I'm going to put the pulp, excuse me, right on this board. You need something strong. You don't want to just use matte board, because you're working wet and it'll get all terrible.
So you need something sealed. Did you seal the masonite?
This might be a quiet. Taking the pulp.
So there's something on the masonite right now, and that is just water before you began. Okay.
And this pulp is like marshmallow. It's really a very beautiful texture. And I'm not used to doing it this way. With a mixer, I'm used to using our other, it's called a Jiffy mixer. But the mixer itself cuts the fibers. And I guess it infuses it with air or something, but it's really fluffy. You'll have fun working with it. And it's not like clay, because it is, but it's not, because clay isn't this wet. Okay, so again, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I feel like I've been drinking beer all day and burping and coughing, but I haven't, so it's later. Because this is going into a frame, I need I need my edges clean. But if not, my gosh, you can just go right over, just have it smushing out all over the place. Here's some different tools. None of these probably will be in your kitchen, but there's some stuff. Anything that will make a texture. Oh, and these beautiful things, these hands. That piece, the purple piece I showed you that is at the store, at the gallery, that's all done with my fingers. And I'm pressing hard. It's not, if you do a little bit, it's not going to do anything. You really got to jam it in. And of course, this is for a demo. We do things quickly, but making art is really, for me, very spiritual, and I like to be with the medium. So really get feel what it's doing, make a friend with it. And again, well, I'm just tearing off the edges because I'll probably use this piece for future. Okay, the beauty always, always, always of paper making, no matter how you do it, is there are no mistakes. So if I say, oh, that looks awful, you just rehydrate this, in your blender, and you can reuse it. So I just want to do another, because I really couldn't, when we use this stuff, I put extra formation aid in it, the slime part, because it moves around better. But this will work beautifully for you.
What's that lovely tool?
It is a flexible plastic smoother that I guess you get it at Home Depot. All right, so I'm going to use this. Again, I'm pressing hard. Nothing gentle about this. So this will look like flowers and petals when it's done. And as you press into it, it's going to smoosh out. And we're going to leave them puffy like that because they'll dry puffy. That's the fun part. And I'm not, this is the last one I'm going to do, but if you want a smooth surface, you can leave the backing showing through. You don't have to cover every inch of it. You're doing okay? That was to Lisa, because
there's shrinkage, right? And so how do you account for that when you have a frame that is already a set measurement?
Well, the pulp shrinks a little bit, but not a whole lot. Really, it doesn't. It's nothing like clay. I think, doesn't clay?
Yeah, it's a range of shrinkage.
Yeah,
depending on the clay. So this is pretty much.
This will pretty
even
much
with all that water.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And you know what? If it shrinks too much, which I've never had that problem, you can just take some of the pulp and add it later on.
Yeah.
So there's the flowers.
We don't want it to slide off, but yeah, you can really see the dimension.
Okay. And this will go into, usually when we're doing production, not production, that sounds terrible, because all of our pieces are one of a kind. But when we're doing multiple pieces at a time, because that's how we work, they go into a room that's about 100 degrees, and they will dry overnight. Now, if you have a 100-degree room, you might think about your ventilation in your house, but without any heat, it should take, I would say, 2 or 3 days to dry. If you can put a fan on it, that would be great. Okay. Otherwise, 2 or 3, and with a fan, 2 or 3 days. Okay. And then, so that gets down, goes down in our basement, and it gets dried and sealed up.
What do you seal it with?
You can use any acrylic sealer. This is the Liquitex Professional Sealer, and just brush it on. Because our paper has no sizing in it, if you went to paint right on it, it would soak right into that particular spot. Sizing is that wonderful medium in either you can internally size it or externally size it. And internal sizing is done when you're making the paper. And again, I keep saying that and again, but we are not professional paper makers. We are paper art makers. So to make technically good papers is a whole art in itself. And I won't even pretend to know about that stuff. But I do know that you can size it internally, or after your paper is made, you can smear it on afterwards. And that's what we do. We do more external sizing. Okay. Okay, so now the piece is dried and sealed, and this was done same way, just with my fingers. And we're going to talk about painting a little bit.
We do have a question. Can you tint the pulp itself?
Yes. You have to use paper. You have to pigment the pulp. I've tried water, like food coloring. That doesn't work at all. I've tried fabric dyes, and I don't. Well, that was just a pure mess because you need a fixative in it. And if you know about that, I mean, it's cotton fiber. So if you, but okay, so when I worked with colored pulp, which I did for a lot of years, I would buy through Carriage House paper, and they're in New York right now. And I would buy their water dispersed pigments, and it's a chemical thing where you have to put the water dispersed pigment in the pulp while it's hydrating, and then you put a fixative in there. And if you do the ratio right, all the color goes into the pulp. If you don't do it right, you're working in colored water. So yeah, you can color the pulp. And you can also, I mean, if longevity, we use cotton fiber because we want it to last forever. We do art. We've been doing it for 33 years. We hope that when you buy our work, it lasts generations. So we make sure we use cotton, because all your good art papers are made out of cotton. Your good books are made out of cotton. And but if you're just playing around, you can use construction paper. You can take copy paper. I did a whole presentation with copy paper and different colors, and that doesn't bleed. You can get colored pulp that way.
Because it's already been through the process of having, right?
Yeah, but it's wood pulp. All of those things are wood pulp and will fade and will deteriorate. So that's the difference between cotton and wood and the colorants that we use. Okay, a good question. Okay, so I base coated this, I sealed it, and I base coated it with white. And I just want to talk about our colorants a little bit. We use, and I call them glazes. I don't know what else to call them. But they're thinned out. The medium that we use is that. It's called faux cream. Dennis was a faux finisher before he and I met, and we're using his products. And this stuff is like probably a gel medium or any. Give me a hint, Lisa.
I mean, it could be a gel medium. What is the result you're after that it's giving you?
It's thinned out. So this is a it's white, but it's really clear. And then I add pigment into it, so it makes it into a. Here's a pigment that we use, and it makes it into a thinned out colorant. Okay, so these products you have to be a faux finisher, but I know there's regular art products, and we've checked with conservators, and they highly approve these products. So I like to work with colorants, layers and layers and layers and layers, just building them up. And I like to work with the surface a little wet. Now with some, go ahead.
When you say thinned out with the medium that you're adding, do you mean that it makes them more translucent?
Yeah.
Or does it simply thin?
Both. So, you know, that's what the consistency of them, and they are translucent too. And depending upon the size of the piece, this is the size I usually use, the two big brushes, but this piece is. So I'm just going to add, but you can see that you can see through it. All right. Sorry for the shaking. That's good. Okay. And this is the beginning of very many. And actually this piece is going to be blue. The ultimate thing will be blue. So I want to add the complementary color of blue is orange. And when I put blue on top of that, it's going to turn browny or, you know, like a darker blue. So that's how I always start, is the opposite. The complementary color. If you get into the, you get the idea. So you can actually be mixing colors right there. So the yellow and the red turned orangey here. And I'm really just going to do that much today. And then it goes into the cooker. We call that the cooker. So depending upon your base, depends upon what the color shows up. If any of you had followed my Facebook and Instagram, I have been working on this experimental project for, I don't know, an eternity. It's probably 3 weeks. And it's still not finished because I got involved with Rittenhouse Square Fine Art Show. But so here is something that was painted silver. And stay tuned, we're still doing that special thing. In just 2 minutes, we're going to do that special thing. So if I put the magenta over silver, as opposed to putting it over the gold, you can see. So it's really fun that it stays clear and liquidy and shows the color underneath. And the texture, that's the really cool part about it too, is that it puddles into the texture. This pulp can also be used to create projects for kids. And kids, you could be making projects with your parents just to have fun with each other. I know you've been spending a lot of time. No, it's not working. Okay. So this is for a project for all ages, either kids with adults or adults with kids. This same pulp that we made, you could make little gifts. I'm going to show you the final product. Okay. And So we have cookie cutters, open-ended cookie cutters. Thanks to Lisa. And oh, and excuse me. This is a cookie tray, and I put aluminum foil on it.
Upside down.
So that the pulp would not stick to your cookie trays. And I'm using vegetable oil, probably the cheaper the better. And I'm just giving that a light spray. Okay. And I'm taking the same pulp that you painfully hydrated. Yeah, you were having a great time. I know. And again, quickly because of time and boredom. But really, I mean, it sounds so hokey that I say that, but become one with the pulp. It's fun. It's clean. It's quiet. Think of the person that you're going to give the gift to.
So that's pretty thick in there.
Yeah,
about a half inch.
No, I'm filling the whole thing up, and I have the final product, so I'll show it to you. The first one I made thin, and it was really wimpy. These have oomph in them.
So it doesn't matter how thick you make pulp. It's more about how you'd let it dry if it is thick.
Yeah.
I mean, could it be, like a three-dimensional object?
Yeah, probably. If you had like a plastic thing underneath and covered it with pulp, that probably could work. But I've never used, oops, sorry. There's people involved here. Just make sure the extremities are full. And I'm just pulling out some of the water. Because you can't go down too far. Because it's in there. Now this worked beautifully.
Did you have to spray, did you spray the cookie cutter as well? Or just
no?
Okay.
See how big and fluffy he is? And I tried to, can I put it up to you or?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead and put it down a little bit. There, that's better. Okay. Yep.
All right. So, and I tried to let that, it was too long. So if you gently apply pressure, and this is where the kids can get involved. I mean, you're going to have to help them depending upon their age, but my gosh, how fun would this be for them? And then you can add, here he is done. You can add, I added a nose to him. Now he's brown because I baked him today. He was having a hard time. This guy's going to have a little mustache, but you can, use it like that. Use it like clay, and it stuck some. I don't even know what a bear nose looks like, but a little mouth.
It's very light. So lightweight.
Yeah, so they'll make things that you can hang. You can put buttons in them, but the buttons you'll have to take out and glue in once they're done. But you can have them say hi, you can move them around. And again, stop that. I mean, what I did was I baked these today because this idea came last night, and I put them down in the room. Now the room wasn't 100 degrees, and I put them on a fan, and that did nothing virtually. And so I baked them today at 170. That's the lowest that our oven would go. And so he turned a little brown, but it took about 3 hours. So that would be a good thing for kids, you can either let this dry for days and say, okay, we're going to do this later, or start it in the morning. By afternoon, you can be painting them. I also just hand form this by taking the pulp and working it like clay. And you saw that they did not shrink. This one grew. It's the opposite of shrinkage. And as Lisa said, it depends upon the thickness. So this one was much thicker, but because I took my time. And this is supposed to be fun and relaxing and calming. And I'd probably recommend not doing it on Facebook Live because that doesn't give that calm quietness to your project. But you could. You're probably better at it than us. So, okay, so there's that. It's 20 of, so I want to just finish this out. So I painted the heart with the white or the star, and you could be done, Or dare I say, with kids, you could add glitter. But you can take this like an any object, and you could put strings on it. You could put wires on it.
You could probably put pins in it, so you could pin. So if you wanted to put buttons on it, could you just put a pin through the buttonholes and pin it on? Or
yeah. Not this kind of button, the regular button. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you could stitch into these. I mean, you could do all kinds of things. And for the end product, or if you need to put a hole in it, this is just a regular awl, and support the piece because it is light, and you can just dig through it. That's not going to be perfect because paper is beautifully imperfect, but that gives a decent hole, and you could put ribbon there. And okay, so again, you could paint them. Yeah, this is getting mushy because my colors are brushes off. Yeah, and I'm guessing you could use, I've never used watercolor except to try it, but I've never used watercolor on these. This is just a special thing that we thought of for this event. And I want to tell you, so, and you can just continue. You could leave it like that. You could work on it a couple more days. It's all up to you. And what I'd like to offer is we've put together bags of our scrap. Okay. So there's probably enough pulp in here to do 4 or 5 of these little gifts. If you don't get that much out of it, you let me know. But we're selling these for $18. That includes shipping. And you can put in that you'd like some. There's a limited time for the first 8 people that would want this. there's enough for that. And so $18. Either email me at info@jpdesignart.com, or put it in the chat room and I'll check it later.
In the comments under this video.
Yeah, in the comments under the video. Okay, so that's about it. Thank you so much for coming, and make sure that you shop the gallery at RittenhouseSquareArt.com. Check out the other events. Rena will be on Facebook Live at 4 o'clock doing her Indian folk art, and it's astonishing. So check her out. There's events on IGTV. There's virtual booths, which we will be at tomorrow, Sunday. I have to think of what day it is. Between 2 and 5. You can visit us. We have some artwork set up. You can show me your space if there's certain areas that you need art for. So it's a really interactive thing. It's the first time we're doing it, so you'll have to be patient with us, and we will certainly be patient with you. And that's it. Have a great afternoon watching everybody's stuff, and toodles.